talk to us now. What are the effects these demonstrations are having, I guess, given the already very difficult situation that you guys are having in America?
Yeah, from an economic standpoint, David, it couldn't come at a worse time for cities that are trying to come out of this lockdown. New York City was supposed to reopen on June 8th. Chicago in just a few days on Wednesday. And so all these businesses that have been desperate for customers now have to face not just the transition of trying to come back safe from proper social distancing, but now they've got customers worried about public safety. So from an economic standpoint, it couldn't come at a worse time. And secondly, it raises it. We've all seen the images of demonstrators, cheek by jowl, shoulder to shoulder, in all these cities. So of course, public health experts are worried that it will set off another outbreak of COVID. So it's a double threat.
Yeah, Flynn, you've obviously got a lot of people cheek by jowl in these protests, and there have always been concerns about a second wave. It seems this may accelerate that concern. What does it mean about, and do we have any sense of how these protests will unfold over the next few days, and what the response is likely to be from a federal and state level?
So they've in Minneapolis, where of course after the Floyd's death, it started. The authorities were, for the first day or so, really stood back and weren't aggressive in addressing the violence. That changed dramatically on Friday. Similarly in Chicago last night, there was a stand down order, so there was not the police did not aggressively intervene, but they are now. And so the city in Chicago, where I live, they locked down the entire central business district. They cut off buses and train service to the downtown. Only if you live or work there are you allowed in. So the concern now is that the protesters are now moving to outlying neighborhoods in the suburbs. So far, those protests have been numerous, but not violent. But we'll have to see what happens. We have curfews imposed here in many major American cities, so we'll have to see tonight what happens.
Yeah, in fact, you're just speaking there as well. You are Chicago, as you mentioned here. Suspension there of things like public transport as well from up until tomorrow morning, your time as well. Flynn, give us a sense of whether there's if it is at all possible, of course, to paint a sort of a consistent stroke. Is there a sense that authorities are perhaps getting the upper hand, let's put it that way, in terms of bringing a little bit more order, or are things still getting worse?
It depends. It appears that they are getting things under control in most cities, but that's the most extreme violence is in the last few nights has happened after dusk, overnight, after once the curfews have been in effect. So it's 9 o'clock Eastern time. We will find out the answer to your question just in the next couple hours. So we don't know at this point, but they at least to the afternoon. The authorities appear to be getting things under control, and even in places like Chicago and Los Angeles, you even had people who were protesting yesterday going to the city and helping clean up, removing graffiti, that sort of thing. So the tone and tenor has changed in some places.